All right. So, let's introduce you first. What class time do you go to, my friend?
5 a.m.
5 a.m. So, this is Neal, my buddy. So, 5 a.m. exclusively?
5 a.m. and then in the summer times and vacation breaks, I'll come to happy hour.
Oh, that's right. You do the happy hour.
Yeah, it's madness.
Have you? So you've been doing it this whole week?
I only did one this week because of we're redoing our home, the patio. So I've had the honeydew list going. So
Gotcha. So you have work.
yes.
Is it as hard as happy hour?
I look forward to happy hour. I'll just say that.
So summertime though is gonna start again, and you're gonna be at happy hour.
So I'll try to get 9 workouts in a week. That's my goal during the summertime.
So the reason I'm having you here is we're gonna start the series. We're gonna share people's nutrition journey.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got a different thing that has worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it's intermittent fasting.
Correct.
So we'll start with your numbers, your data. Like, where did you start?
Well, let's go body weight.
Let's do this first. How long were you CrossFitting for? Or have been CrossFitting?
About 18 months before I started, almost 2 years before I started intermittent fasting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you dabble in nutrition during that time?
I did. Tried the Whole30, did the somewhat keto, and then my doctor said, no, we can't do keto after I talked to her because of diabetics and ketosis is not a good thing. So type 2, that is. So she said, let's hold off on that. Let's look at something. And she said, this is in September of 2017.
2017.
She said, there's something called intermittent fasting. My college roommate did this, lost 50 pounds, and there's a gentleman named Dr. Jason Fung from Canada who is a big proponent of it. So Google him, look up, read about him. So I'm like, okay. So I ordered the book on Amazon, read it, was intrigued, read it on a plane, and couldn't put it down when we landed in the Bay Area. I was like, oh. So I probably read that book in 3 days. Took some notes and then went online and looked him up and see what he was all about and what intermittent fasting was about. And he, in a nutshell, it was explained to me, your stomach is like a muscle. It needs rest to work more efficiently.
Huh.
And that he put it in a workout sense, and I was like, "Oh, I get that."
Because you get the results from recovering.
Recovering, correct.
You don't build muscle while you're working out; it's when you sleep.
Correct.
So it makes
the recovering aspect. So having someone who worked out, that was to me the first kind of an epiphany. It's like, oh my goodness, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I started intermittent fasting. The doctor with this study started. Let's backtrack with the study. The study's about 100 people. 50 guys, 50 women, and we were all classified as severely obese because we were close to 40% on body fat percentage.
Was this type 2 diabetes as well? So
all of us were type 2 or morbidly obese, and some were both.
Got it. So one of the two.
Correct, or both in some cases.
Who ran the case study?
The study was started by Dr. Jeff Pearson, but he moved it into another. Dr. Lou, who's my current doctor, is the one proponent of it. So Dr. Pearson was my doctor, and he retired from Graybill.
Okay.
And then he said, well, you need to go see Dr. Lou. And Dr. Lou was a proponent of intermittent fasting.
So Dr. Lou so the doctors are running this 100-person study, or was it?
It was more doctors and researchers and nutritionists, actually. It was a bunch of nutritionists. In spring of 2016, there was the obesity summit in San Diego.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that. There was a huge obesity summit. So most of the doctors in the world who dealt with obesity was here. With that study, my doctor participated in that study and said, we need to get subjects for a 18-month to 24-month study. And that's when I came about. She says, I have a perfect person. He's about 40% body fat, exercises, 2,500 calories a day, type 2 diabetic. So I was the criteria king.
And so you just signed up for it, and you're like...
Yeah, we're doing it. So they took your body fat percentage, and they did all your blood work, everything. So basically they overhauled. It was an overhaul. They checked you out from head to toe.
So then your starting point, your baseline,
correct.
You were eating 2,200 calories.
Yes, around 2,200 to 2,300 calories a day.
That seems really low.
It is.
You're a big guy, because at that point your body weight was what, 282?
280, correct.
You're eating 2,200 calories and your body weight was 282.
Correct.
And you weren't dropping fat, even though you're working out consistently.
Correct.
And then you had 83 pounds of fat.
Correct.
And about 40% body fat.
Correct.
And then, so just fast forward to a year in this program.
So January of 2019, I was 242, about
40 pounds
weight loss, and then my fat percentage was about 63 pounds of fat.
Okay.
And then my percentage went from almost 40 to about 26.5% body fat.
So 15% drop in body fat.
Correct.
So, and then in that time period, were you still at 2,200 calories?
No, the first 12 weeks or 3 months, I was at about 3,100 to 3,500 calories a day.
That's crazy, because most people will still, now I get it all the time. It's like calories in versus calories
Correct.
out. Reduce your caloric intake. We're watching, like 600-pound Life and things like that. They're like, oh, just eat 1,200 calories a day and all that.
So
you upped your calories.
Correct. She says I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't able to get my body enough fuel to work out. So it wasn't actually burning fat because of X, Y, and Z. We'll talk about that later.
So you dropped 40 pounds overall. You dropped
Correct.
20 pounds of fat.
Correct.
15% body fat, and you increased your calories 1,400.
Almost a third.
A third, right? And the crazy thing is, you didn't change your diet.
No, I'm not a bad eater. I'm not a uber clean eater, but I am someone who watches what they eat, my intake. I try to eat as many organic and fruits and vegetables as I can.
But you were at your baseline still from then
Correct.
till that year of
Correct.
all the benefits. You didn't change your diet. So it wasn't like you had to follow
Nope.
this set of Whole30 rules.
No.
You didn't have to follow this set of eat this, not that.
No.
So it was just the fasting.
Now I still get the same Costco items I get
Yeah.
when I go to Costco every day. Every 2
Dang,
days.
that's awesome. So then the program, let's kind of get into that.
So the program
People are
was
going to
this.
want to know
The
what you
program
did.
was, I started out at 12 and 12. 12 hours on, 12 hours off. That was for 21 days.
Is that for everyone in the 100%
Everyone
case
100,
study?
yeah. So
Okay.
all 100 people, and then there were some subgroups. We'll get into subgroups
So
later.
12 hours of not eating
Correct.
was the only
That
rule.
that was first 21 days.
21 days, okay?
After day 21, we had a check of how you feeling, hydration, things like that. Are you still working out? How do you feel? The biggest thing for me, as I've noticed right away, is even at 12 and 12, I felt less joint pain after working out. I was still heavy. I only lost maybe 2 pounds, but I had less joint pain. So we went on. I was telling Deej this, our 5 a.m. instructor. When we went around and did around the block, I'd be so it'd take me a couple days to recover just from joints being
So it
sore.
was like running 2.5 miles
Correct.
about.
It wasn't the running, it was the joint pain.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, I had less joint pain. So that was, to me, the of a buy-in. I was like, oh, that's only 12 and 12. I'm like, okay, and I was fine. The weeks, days 22 to probably 45 to 50, depending on what you were, that was 14, 10, 16, 8, depending on how you're feeling. So you try to fluctuate. Try to go 14.
Add a couple extra hours
Correct.
of not eating.
So then by day 60, we are straight into 16-8. And I did 16-8 for about 3 months.
Okay.
And then had great results.
How much weight were you losing in fat?
I was losing at 16-8 about 3 pounds a week.
Jeez.
And I was increasing so I was up to 3,100 calories, 3,300 calories, and I was dropping 3 pounds a week.
So, question, you were working out here doing
Correct.
CrossFit.
Correct.
The people in the case study, the 100 people group, do they have a exercise
So
prescription?
we had to basically guarantee our person who's running it, that we were going to at least work out 4 days a week.
And how long a duration?
At least 45 minutes a day.
Okay, so anything. Go for a walk, run.
Just some type of movement. So my partner, who lost, you've seen pictures of her, she ended up losing almost 200 pounds.
In a year?
In a year.
Holy
And she basically, you see before and after pictures, you can see it's her face, but you don't recognize the body.
Gotcha.
So her biggest thing was she wanted to be able to walk, and now she's running 3 and 4 miles a day. She runs 3 days a week.
What was the difference between you and her that she lost the 200 pounds?
So she did, she restricted her carb intake. So her limit was 100 carbs a day, 100 grams of carbs a day.
So she was doing the fasting.
Correct.
And also like low carb keto-ish
Correct.
type of thing.
Correct.
Gotcha. Whereas you just did the intermittent fasting and didn't change your diet.
Correct.
Got it.
So they wanted to see how that affects. She was not a type 2 diabetic. I am. So
Okay.
they wanted to see how the effects were for different people. So there's 10 of us who are type 2s who did what we did.
But both of you guys did the full, just 1 year.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
So my buy-in and what I tell people is at 16.8, I was losing so much weight, and then they wanted me to go even more. So, getting to 18.6. And for me, 18.6 at first was, I'll say, brutal. But now that's the norm for me. It's almost to OMAD, 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
But at the time, when I go to 18.6 now, it's not even a big deal. So my eating window during the week is basically 3 to 7, sometimes 3 to 8. So I'm only eating like 5 hours a day anyway.
Gotcha.
And then in the summertime, this summer, I'm going to really try to go 20 to 4. So basically
20 hours of not eating, you get the 4 hours
of eating.
I have a buddy, he used to come here, Matt Dominguez, but he's been doing the 24. And amazing results.
Yeah, and to me, I want to take it to the next level because now I was a diabetic because my A1C was 7.3.
Okay.
Now I'm what is called pre-diabetic because my last one was under 6.5.
Okay.
I'm taking my next 6-month blood test is in 2 weeks, 4-month blood test in 2 weeks, and if it's below, I feel that's below 6 just because of how I feel. If it's below 6, I will no longer, if it's below 5, which I think it may be, I won't be classified as a diabetic.
Oh, wow.
What that means is they meaning the study group wants to try me at the 20 hours of fasting, 4 hours of eating for 60 days to see how my body fat changes.
So when you
as a non-diabetic, because diabetes affects how you lose weight. For that, I didn't know until
doing.
Yeah, it's kind of a vicious cycle with diabetes.
Did you have to take when you started? Were you on meds for diabetes?
So I was on metformin and flecainide, which is two different. One is for heart condition and one is for diabetes for blood sugar. Because of my weight, and I have a heart condition from birth, a heart murmur they call it. The flecainide was keeping me out of AFib because I'd be in AFib. I'd feel like I had the flu, but I was in AFib for 3, 4, 5 weeks at a time. So didn't want to go to strokes. My doctor said, let's get him out of AFib. So they gave me flecainide. Then they gave me metoprolol with the flecainide just to balance because they speed it up, slow it down. It's a heart governor. It's like a governor on a car. It keeps me regulated. Now that I've lost all the weight, I was at 2,000 milligrams of metformin. Now I'm down to 500 a day. And then flecainide, I was at 50 milligrams. Now I'm down to 25. And I will probably I won't be taking metoprolol after my next appointment with my cardiologist, which is great. So now I'll be able to run a little bit better. I'll have no more excuses not to run. So I'm kind of sad about that. So I'm like,
you're like, can we keep those?
Yes. But that's for me the point was getting off my medication, and the joint pain lack of pain has been amazing.
Because those things you don't realize. A lot of times when we start nutrition protocols, people look at the numbers, right?
No, I'm not. Yeah.
And then the thing is like we always tell people you got to track things, the things that like sleep quality,
correct,
energy. Like you can't measure that on a scale, right? So
correct.
Things like that, joint pain.
Yeah.
People don't realize that it could just be your diet or inflammation.
Exactly.
So that's kind of your biggest change. So you lost a ton of body fat, less joint pain, got off meds, right? All from just doing the fasting. So that year that passed, how long has that been since, like, how far have we gone after the case study?
So the case study ended January 5th, 2019. And then the new study started in April with a protocol of 18-6 and diet. So basically the new study is, if you're pre-diabetic, which I fit now, we have this for you. So the type 2s, I'm no longer type 2 diabetic, clinically. Yeah. So now they're trying to figure out if they can get people who are pre-diabetic out of that stage into not even being diabetic.
So you're at the next level. So
correct.
You went from diabetic, pre-diabetic. Now hopefully you'll be considered normal range.
Correct. That's the next goal.
Is this another year process?
So this was going to be a 6-month study. It's going to start April 1st, and they're going to hopefully be done in October. That's their goal.
The same type of regimen. You're just going from 16/8 to 24.
Correct.
20 and then 4 hours.
So I'll do 60 straight days of 24, and then with that I'll have 5 days within that 60 days where I'll go 24 hours. So I'll eat at noon. I won't eat again until the next day at noon.
Okay.
I'll do a full OMAD or 1 meal a day.
So that's the thing a lot of people ask too is like, oh man, I need to eat before or after workouts, and you work out at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And you've been
I don't eat till 3.
How was your so you work out at 5 a.m. then you work all day and then you eat your first meal at 3 p.m.
Correct.
And that's been fine, even though you did your 2 days.
So yeah, so what I did is recommendations are there are a bunch of teas out there that you can use. There's that curb your appetite. To me, it was hydration, and I don't think people realize how important hydration is in just life and weight loss and fat loss. The more hydrated I was, the more weight I lost. And it wasn't that I was trying to drink too much water, but just drink what I should drink.
Curb the hunger a little bit.
Exactly.
Right? So you're not just sitting there.
So in working, I don't really think about food until after work anyway.
Yeah.
So it was the normal thing. People go at lunch. How do you go to places and see people eat and not be hungry? It's like, well, to me it was, I'm not eating not to eat. I'm eating to live longer.
Yeah, I guess the intent, right? Because if you're just eating this protocol just to lose X pounds or whatever, it's not enough.
And to get all of us in the study, basically they told us, they said, you're all in your late 40s, early 50s, and your life expectancy, some of you won't get to 65. And I was one of them. They said my life expectancy was 63 and a half.
63 and a half.
At my current deal, I'd have, 10 more years with my kids.
Whoa.
So that basically that slapped all of us in the face. It's like, oh. He said, but if you try this, you can extend it, 5, 6, 7, 20, whatever years.
That puts that into perspective because you're like, okay, man, I feel hungry, but who cares? You want 20, 30 more years versus it's that craving that we really start to deal with, right?
Correct. So once you deal with the craving, I said the first 21 days was really difficult, but after that, once your body gets used to it, it's like, when I go on vacation and eat within, let's say, 12 hours, I'm like, ooh, I feel bloated. Let's say I ate at 10, I don't eat till late if you go to Vegas, whatever we're doing.
Yep.
It's like, ooh, I'm really bloated. So I figure out when I'm going on vacation or let's say I'm going to Vegas, I'll do a 24-hour fast before. So when I get to Vegas, I will already fast at 24 hours.
That's a good idea because what we use fasting for is like a post.
Correct.
Like we'll go on, we'll have a cheat meal or a crazy night, and then the next day we'll fast. So I think doing before and after would be pretty good too.
Yeah. So before what I'll do is whenever we go to Vegas, 24 hours before I'll go, and then my first meal will be a buffet or whatever, and then I'll be into my routine after that. So it works out pretty well.
So, what would your advice be to someone listening? Because the goal is just to share people's experience. Real people, real results type of deal. Everyone will have a different.
Don't let what you've read that intermittent fasting is not working discourage you, because I'm proof that I didn't change my diet. People know me know I didn't change my diet.
And you increase your calories, which is a big
calories. Yeah. So to me, mentally, I'm like, I'm eating more. I'm just eating in less period of a time barrier, a time restricted eating, what I call it, and I lost all that weight. And now the next phase is now I want to work on losing more body fat. Here's
a question: out of the 100 people case study, do you have like simple data on the average? So the average weight loss was 100 people, 45 pounds. Wow. Average fat percentage loss was 16% body fat. That's amazing. And the protocol is just fast. And there were some, they're high end, low end range, but the one woman that the winner, she was 293 pounds and now she's 122. Whoa, 292. And she was eating 1,800 calories at 290 whatever pounds she was. Okay. And now she's 122, but now she's up to 145. Her weight, she says that's her weight is 145. That's a big drop. That's all within a year? 17 months. She was 17 months. Wow, that is insane. And So would you recommend starting for someone that's new, just do the 12-12? Because a lot of people, because we've done, I think the issue is that you jump into the deep end, like do 16-8, and everyone struggles. I would go 12-12, 14-10, and then 16-8. In what duration? That's like 60 days. I'd go the first 21 days, go 12-12. 12-12 for 21 days. Yeah. And then you increase it a little bit. Increase by 2 hours every
7 to 10 days.
I think most people in here find it most comfortable with 14.
Yes, 14, 10 solid.
So you don't need to go 16, 18. I think we
No.
all have that like mindset to always do more. Like,
No.
Oh, but just 14 seems to be a good number.
And you're not going to lose weight the first 4 weeks. I lost maybe a pound.
That's good to know because people expect the numbers.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in the first month.
But you will feel better after probably 10 days. And then once the weight starts coming, it'll be weight and it'll be inches because it'll be less bloating. So one last number. I was a 44 waist.
Okay.
And now I'm a 36 waist.
36 waist.
So I tell people I still have to get 38s because of my butt because it is what it is.
And how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3", 36-inch waist.
So that was for me the biggest thing is I had to get new pants because I was losing so many inches around.
That's a super important number that people need to track, not just the scale weight. Right?
Correct.
It's like joint pain and then how your clothes
Yeah,
fit.
to be honest, I didn't really care how much I weighed. I don't want to be a diabetic, and I want to be pain free.
And live longer.
And live longer.
Yeah.
So to me, the losing the weight was a byproduct of what was happening.
Gotcha. It shouldn't be the goal because it never keeps you.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So to me, weight is really just a number. I'm more worried about percentage body fat and my A1C and my cholesterol. That to me was the biggest issue that I wanted to overcome with intermittent fasting.
So we had a little chat because you shared the story,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I wanted to share with everyone because it's motivating. But now it's like, what is your goal moving forward now? Is it to kind of help others with it if they have questions?
I want people to ask me any question that they want in regards to if they even thinking about starting intermittent fasting, because I'm not just saying this. If anyone couldn't do it, I felt I couldn't do it. There's no effing way that I'm going to be able to not eat when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Literally, I was like this. I was laughing at this reading. I'm like, this guy's crazy.
I hear that a lot. I can't do that.
And then the more I read about it, it's like, well, our bodies can handle it, and our bodies are meant for fasting. We're built for fasting.
Yep.
To be honest with you. And once I had that mindset, and the whole let your stomach rest, because you're not going to do squats all day.
Yeah.
You're going to let your body rest a couple days.
Yeah.
And to me, that was, as an athlete, it's like, oh, a day of rest. Your stomach's resting. Your liver's going to rest. Your pancreas is resting. All those digestive components are resting.
Yeah.
And getting more efficient. So now they're more efficient when they're burning what you eat. And to me, that actually brought it to, because to me, I was like, there's no way. And then all of a sudden, once the book said basically, your stomach needs rest. That was it.
That was it.
That was like
a light bulb moment.
Epiphany, light bulb, I'm in.
The other thing, too, is because I've talked to you about this a lot, and I would say you're the guy to go to because you have done, through the process, I think, you've read all the research papers, probably more than any nutritionist or doctor out there on fasting and diabetes, in my opinion. And I still get messages from you with, like, it's like a filter. You have the best, you send me the best, like, videos on other people talking about IF and this and that. So you have all the resources, I believe.
There's a lot of pros and cons, and people think there are a lot of cons. But if you go back to our bodies are meant to store. Fat is a energy storage. Mm-hmm. And why were you storing energy? Because you may not eat for a while.
Yep.
Back in the day. And once we understand that fasting allows our bodies to get in a mode of not necessarily starvation, but fat burning. And the key is the fat burning, which I didn't really comprehend until I started doing more research. We're more efficient when we're burning fat. We actually have more energy when we're burning fat, which I did not realize until I did the research.
One of the big issues too, where you brought it to light, which I agree with, is that you're not keto. No. And to be honest, a lot of us have tried keto, and when people start fasting for some reason, because they think not to eat a lot in that shorter window, they think they're not supposed to eat carbs either. And the numbers prove it, where you went from 2,200 calories to 3,600 calories. And we're not talking about just eating nuts all day.
No.
I've tried it, doesn't work. So this is purely intermittent fasting
Correct.
application.
And
not
keto has its place for some people. But
Correct.
For diabetics and intermittent fasting, if you're going to combine those two, you need to stay, in my opinion, to stay as far away from keto as you can, because you don't want to be in keto and then trying to catch up with your calories with the carbs or lack thereof carbs. And one of Dr. Fung's points that I really homed in on, he said, don't cut out your carbs, just don't eat so many. If you were at 150, do 100.
Yeah.
Or do 75, but get your carbs. Your body needs carbs for a reason to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So that was, to me, it was like, I can still have carbs. So I don't eat as much bread as I used to. But if I'm going to eat bread, I'll either have half a slice, or I'll save it and have pancakes with my kids or whatever. We'll do some protein pancakes.
That's another it's a healthy mindset. When you start demonizing food or become afraid of it, I've been through it. I still kind of have that at post-traumatic, all the little challenges I've done, but it's like you start to become afraid of eating food.
Yes.
That's not a long-term play. It gives you a lot of stress and anxiety, and then cortisol. It's a bad plan. So.
And food should be, when you eat, it should be, the more you're relaxed, the more you're happy and enjoying your meal, because once you're fasting and once you start eating that meal, when you break it, it's like, yes. And to me, it's like
that appreciation, right?
It's like, yes,
you don't just eat all the time.
No, so and I'll end with this. When I first started, I tried to eat as much as I can. Like, I gotta hurry up. And now it's like, I take my 2 hours. I'll eat in 2 hours again, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And it's I could just see my body changing quick. Once you get to day 45, the changes are exponential. It's frightening. Like, pant size, waist size. People like, oh, what did you do? Are you sick? People thought I was, had cancer.
Yeah.
Why is your face so skinny? I said, well, I've lost a lot of fat in places that had fat for a long time, so that's why I look different. But I told everyone, I said, fasting for me extended my life and more time with my kids.
Yeah.
So to me, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
That's all that matters.
And I didn't do it for me. I did it so I can spend more time with my kids.
Yeah.
And I told people, to be honest, if I wasn't a diabetic, I probably wouldn't have gotten into fasting, because my life expectancy would have been, let's say, 82 or whatever.
And you're like, I don't need to change it.
I don't need to change it. But when that life expectancy was below 65, that hit all of us in the room in the face. It was like, okay.
Yeah, when you dangle the kids
when you
out
see
there,
that number,
it's like, oh man, that's not.
Here's your number. Here's your current weight. Here's your current number. This is what you have to change. It was like, okay. And this is how you can do it and still eat. So to me, intermittent fasting is basically the ultimate cheat, because you're eating what you want and you're still losing weight and you're still getting great workouts in.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win, because your food costs, you're saving money because you're not eating as much.
Yep. That's the biggest thing I always tell people is, like, fasting is the best protocol because you save money and time. You don't have to prep maybe even lunch. Definitely don't have to prep breakfast. You don't have to clean. You don't have to make it.
Costco, for intermittent fasters, Costco is heaven, because you get salads there. You get those organic green salads, $3. It's 5 or 6.
Meals.
I eat probably 4 of those. It takes one of those. I think they're $3.99. I go through one of those every 4 days, just because I eat that. My salads are huge. I get those big bowls.
This is like the ultimate. You want the best of both worlds. This is the budget plan. And the health plan, the fat loss plan, and eat what you want plan.
And then keep your fats up. And I think that's my last point I want to keep up is, don't cut your fats out.
Yeah, because then you don't want the calories to stay super low.
Fats, what I found out, and I think it's true, it allows you to fast and not crave. It keeps your body, I'll say, mentally focused, and you're not focused on food. The more fats I eat, the better I feel in fasting, which is crazy to think about. So I won't eat avocados. I'm a big avocado guy. Bone broth that has high fat. Anything that has high good fat, I'm in, because it allows me to feel better when I'm fasting.
And you'll feel full longer.
Yes.
Satiated, all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's, to me, and it's great because the workouts in the morning, like this morning workout was brutal.
Yep.
Even though it was a team WOD, I felt good because I had pretty good fat content last night. If I know it's going to be a pretty good workout, I'll have a little bit more fat the night before, and it gets me through the workout.
So how can people reach you? Do they want people just to go through us? And they find you on Facebook, or I'll give it to you. I have a IF. Basically, it's Neal IF@gmail.com. Neal,
but I'll give you that information.
And we'll post it on the bottom of the video. So
it's
troubleshooting questions. Again, we're just sharing our experiences.
If you start and you need to vent on, oh my goodness, I can't do this, come talk
support.
to me. Definitely support, because I've been there. I was there.
You have to walk the walk so you know when they're going to hit their walls.
Oh, it's day 12.
Yeah.
It's day 12. People laugh at me, oh, I'm fine. Day 10, they're great. And 2 days later, like, how did you know day 10? Because I was there.
Yeah.
And our sponsor basically said day 12 is the worst day. He said for some reason that's the day, because day 12 you start burning fat that you didn't know you could burn. Got
it. So things are starting to move.
And you're like, oh, and then the cravings come, and then you're so regimented in when you eat 3 meals a day or 6 meals a day or however many meals you're eating a day that you're used to putting food in your mouth. Once you kick the habit of always having to put food in your mouth, that's when day 12 is nightmarish, because you stop eating, you're intermittent fasting, and you're a couple days away from going 14-10. You're still at 12-12, and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
And my point was, if you can get through day 12,
that's
12. Oh, and then the next one is day 45, and we'll talk about that later.
Sweet. So probably we'll put this out there, and then we should probably do a follow-up. More like tips and how to.
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up. I'll take my blood test in June. We'll do a follow-up in July and see how that goes. And then, because I'll be into my 45 days of, I call it craziness, of trying to drop more body fat.
Well, we're going to follow along the journey. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Neal.
You got it.
So Neal,